Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Dee, and this is Dee's Bookish Musings, where I'm sharing my love for reading at my own pace. So let's go ahead and get into this video. I am going to be talking about a few things in this video. This is another episode of my Bookish Musings, where I just talk books, whatever that may encompass. And so first of all, I'm going to do my last, now, and next. Then I'm going to be sharing some incoming intentional purchases that I made. Then I'm going to be sharing a few books that I recently read. Go ahead and get started with that. So the last book that I read was Judge Stone by Viola Davis and James Patterson. I did do a full reading vlog about this book. The second half of that vlog is this book, me reading this book. I started this listening with my ears, and then I picked up the physical book and read about 20% of the physical book. I just wanted to get a feeling of how this book was reading it versus listening to it. And I enjoyed it both ways. Now, I will say that you have to distinguish in your head the characters, because Viola, she does narrate this book herself. She is doing a really good job, but it got a little blurred. But once I distinguished that in my head that she was playing the characters, I was fine. Reading this book. This book had so much action in it. I like the fact that it discussed like a topic that is, very controversial right now. Very, very good story. It is a page turner. I enjoyed my time with this book. That's all I will say. I did go into more details about it in the vlog, so you can check that out if you're interested. All right, so that was my last book. So now I'm reading 3 books, y'all, which really never happens, but it is what it is. So I picked up April Sinclair's Ain't Gonna Be the Same Fool Twice. This is the book number 2. This follows Stevie, I forgot her last name, Stevie Stevenson. Yeah, Stevie Stevenson. And I'm enjoying this so far. I have not gotten too far in the book. This is following like her young adulthood. So I would say it is YA, college kids, because now Stevie's in college, but it is set in like in the 70s. And so I'm enjoying this right now. And so also I'm still reading Beverly Jenkins' Night Song. This is her first book. I've gotten further. I'm on 126, not that much further. I am having a bit of a slow reading month or just season right now because of everything that's going on in my personal life. But I'm not in a rush. I'll get through the books when I get through them. And then I decided to pick up, because I'm still in my nonfiction bag. If you have been watching my videos, I started reading, or getting back into reading African American literature, history, and things like that, nonfiction primarily. And I've had this book on my shelf for a long time, Harriet Jacobs' Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. This is a slave narrative. I will go more in detail when I finish the book, but let's just say when I feel kind of bad saying I'm enjoying this book, because some of the things that's talked about, as you can imagine, about a slave narrative is not enjoyable. But there's something about listening to Harriet Jacobs tell me her story in her own voice. So in that aspect, I am enjoying hearing about this lady in her life. Okay. So those are the current or now books that I'm reading now. Next, I will be reading this book right here with Ashley. It's called My Name is Ona Judge by Suzette D. Harrison. I'm excited to read this. This is such a beautiful cover, y'all. Look at that cover. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Beautiful Black woman on the cover. I did read the nonfiction, Never Caught, about a slave woman in real life. This is based on real life, a real person who escaped George Washington and was on the run, and she was literally never caught. Came close, but yeah, that's all I'll say. Read the book if you want to know her story. I really did enjoy her nonfiction work, the nonfiction version of this book. Okay, so that's what I'm reading now. All right, so next I am going to share books that I've recently finished. Okay, so I'm going to go in order of finishing them. I read Murder by Cheesecake by Rachel Ekstrom Courage. I was excited when I went into this book because it's about my girls. Okay, I even have a graphic T-shirt that I got from the thrift store. I need to go back to that thrift store because they had some really cute things in there. I found some really good things in there. But I bought the T-shirt like 2 years ago. So again, that says how much I love the Golden Girls. I can literally binge watch that show. I haven't recently in the last couple of years. I don't know why, just life, I guess. But back in the day, I used to spend all Saturday binge watching the Golden Girls on the Lifetime channel or whatever channel it came on. So I was excited when I saw that someone wrote a cozy mystery series about the Golden Girls. And so with that said, this book was disappointing. It took about more than half or halfway through this book. And this book is not like a what you would call a long book, but it was long for what it was. So this is about mainly about like all of the girls, but the story centers about Rose. Rose is helping her niece Nettie plan her wedding. And in the midst of planning her wedding, Dorothy, she is trying to find a date to the wedding, right? If you know the Golden Girls, Dorothy's always casually dating, meeting someone because, she's been divorced from Stan for a couple years, right? And so she, never really gets that serious, but she does casually date. So she goes on this, not website, because there was no website, Tinder or anything like that back in the day. So they had a video tape service where you would preview dates and things like that by looking at the video of them. So she connects with this man that she meets. She goes on a date with him. It doesn't really turn out well, but later on, her date is found dead. Okay. And that is where the mystery ensues. But y'all, this book felt so flat because number one, I think the author was really trying to rewrite the show in a book because I was excited that the book was written like the show, like some of the details about the ladies was written in this book. Like, for instance, Dorothy, she would describe her wardrobe. Dorothy was a tall woman, right? Tall and kind of mannish. She wore shoulder pads. So, she tried to fit in a lot of details about the show itself and the ladies itself versus focus on the cozy mystery. The mystery did not even happen until 50% of the book. And so this book kind of lost me even before the 50%. Also, not Dorothy, but Rose is helping her cousin plan a wedding. So that is the main center of the story as well when this death happens, right? And so the girls go on this hunt to find a killer, but it did not resonate with me, right? The cozy mystery part just did not resonate with me because it just took too long and it got a little boring. Like the wedding plot thing just got a little redundant and just not interesting. And so since I was buddy reading this, I did not want to DNF it, but I was coming close, y'all. I was reading this book and I was hating it. I did want to DNF this book, but I didn't. So this one was a disappointment. And unfortunately, I will have to give this one a 2-star because it did not, it started off great because of, reminiscing of the show, right? But then, it failed to follow up on the mystery part. And that I think was a flop. So I gave this book a 2, unfortunately. And I will not be getting into the second book because I think there's a second book in that series. All right, so the next book that I read was Just Mercy by Bryan Stevenson, a story of justice and redemption. So I heard about Bryan Stevenson when I read The Sun Does Shine. It's on my bookshelf. It was a 5-star book that had been sitting on my shelf for 7-8 years unread, and I just read it in 2024. Absolutely loved the book, and so I wanted to read more about his lawyer, which was Bryan Stevenson. So I read it by ear, listening to it by audio, but then I found this book at the thrift store for 99 cents. And so I was like, absolutely have to have it on my shelf. And so this follows Bryan Stevenson. He talks about his life as a young lawyer, creating the Equal Justice Initiative, which is a law practice that focused on defending marginalized, poverty-stricken people who society had thrown away and found guilty And so this one centers the narrative around Walter McMillan and his plight for justice. So we follow that storyline from guilt to exoneration. I love the way Brian talked about themes such as, of course, injustice, poverty, and how that affects like the legal system and people being found guilty because of money and lack of resources and things like that. He also talks about mercy. Just Mercy is the perfect title for this book because he lays out like the case for like children who were convicted of crimes, who got harsh prison sentences. We know children, their frontal lobe aren't formed, right? He talked about like cases that we've heard like in history. Like one that stood out to me was George Stinson, I think his name, Steiny, which was a young boy in South Carolina. I don't remember what year it was, but he was convicted of murdering someone. And yeah, you need to read about that, right? If you haven't heard about that story. So this book was very eye-opening. I really enjoyed how he intertwined the systemic abuse of the legal system, all surrounding this one case, Walter McMillan. And so this one was definitely 5 stars. I do recommend this book if you like to read nonfiction, if you like to read about the legal system and how it does not work for marginalized society, poor people. Next book that I read is The Book of Harlan by Bernice L. McFadden. This was my first novel by her. She is one of the authors that I am reading more of this year. And so I really did enjoy my time with this book. I won't go into details because I did a whole reading vlog, that same one with Judd Stone that I talked about. It is in the first half of the video. So if you want to watch that, you can. Just know that I really did enjoy this one, centering main character Harlan, but also it's also sort of like a multi-generational story about characters who were introduced, who were influenced by Bernice's own family, who come in contact with Harlan, and we see how she's shaped by their influence, like his parents, his grandparents, lovers, things like that. We follow him from a boy to an adult being captured by the Nazis and how that shaped his life. So I really did enjoy this one. Want to hear more details about it or just watch a fun vlog, check that video out. So The Book of Harlan. And then I've already talked about Judd Stone, so I won't go into details about that. Just know this is a must read. You need to pick this up and read it. All right, so next part of the video, I am going to be sharing some intentional purchases with you. So my book buying, let's talk about that for a quick minute. I have greatly reduced buying books just because I'm running out of space. Although I am unhauling books and things like that, I still have limited space. However, I am going to allow myself like a budget every now and then for some books. And I'm only buying things that really resonate with me, not going crazy at all. And so let's go ahead and get started in showing you these books. So the first book is I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. So I've seen this book around for years, but never picked it up for myself. And so I got this really beautiful copy, y'all. The color on this is very vibrant. Also, this book is so floppy, y'all. Look at this copy. And it's got deco edges, which you rarely see with paperbacks. So I'm happy to have this book, and I can't wait to read it. The next book I bought was Harriet Tubman, Conductor of the Underground Railroad. This one is by Ann Petrie. And so I do have most of all of her works, and I do want to collect all of her works. I think I have all of them except for just a few like stories. So this is one that she definitely wrote for like middle grade. Also because it's middle grade, it's easy to digest. I do have a biography of Harriet Tubman that I want to get into too, but it probably is going to be a little bit more dense. And so this one is kind of light, written for middle grade or, school children. And so I wanted to read this one, right? Yeah, it seems like it's going to be very, very, very easy to read. And so I went ahead and bought this. Next set of books, it is a complete series, or the rest of the books in the series. I purchased this book a couple months ago. This is book number 1. I bought this from Thrift Books by Elena Ferrante. This is not the book I'm going to show you. This is not a new recent purchase. Well, it is a recent purchase a couple months ago, but not like specifically for this video. So I bought this one first. And I was going to just stop here, right? Because this is the first book. One thing that I don't think is wise, you know, just personal preference, but here I am doing it, is to buy complete series when you don't even know if you'll like the first book. So I've known about this book back when it first came out. This was all the rage, but because it's kind of like out of my comfort zone, and at that time, I was not reading books like this or had any interest in books like this, I never picked it up. But recently I've been seeing some of my the booktubers that I like to watch that talk about this book, and so it just piqued my curiosity. And I do want to branch out, right? I will always read Black stories and stuff like that, but I do want to be more diverse when it comes to reading, because I think I might be missing out on some good books, right? I mean, a good book is just a good book, no matter who has written it. And so, yeah, I bought this one a couple months ago, but recently, these are the books that I want to show you, like the new books. I went ahead and bought the complete series, right? I had that much confidence in people that I watched that kind of read the same things that I read, you know, who read also different things too. Like I like to watch people who are not reading exactly what I'm reading as well, who are very diverse. And so I went ahead and took their word for it, and I went ahead and bought all 3 books in this series because I heard it was really good. This again, the first book I bought from Thrift Books a couple months ago, My Brilliant Friend, book 1. And then I'm not sure what order, but here are the 3 books. And they're really good quality books too. Paperback, nice and floppy. And so, yeah, I hope I will love these books as much as they do. So that's it, y'all. Those are the books I want to share with you all. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you thought about the video, as well as what about these books? Have you read any of these books? Talk to me in the comments down below. I will see you in the next video. Take care and be blessed.